Hello and welcome to my channel. Viced Rhino here. I almost forgot to unmute myself, but I didn't. So there we go. It worked. As you can see, I've got foam stuff that I'm kind of in the process of putting up. There's going to be more on this wall. I think this stuff is designed to reduce echoes, and I think this wall is actually where most of the echoes are coming from, but that wall is easier to get to because it doesn't have a desk right there. But that's not the only new thing in my office today. I also got a new desk. So, hey, where are you guys going? Where are you going? Where's everybody going? Why are you leaving me? What? I got a standing desk. Pretty cool. It's pretty friggin' awesome. It's got all these extension cables with my computer back there. It's pretty nice. I'm going to sit down for the stream, though. I actually had the desk last week, but I had guests and I didn't want to play with my desk while the guests were waiting to join me on the stream, so I figured that would be better. But yeah, so welcome. The color scheme's going to wash out my complexion. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I've already got my my computer. You guys can probably barely even see it because of the combination tempered glass and being behind the chat. But I have my computer set up to flash all its little lights are yellow and blue to match with the yellow and blue back there. And I'm going to eventually get a yellow and blue like desk mat. Everything's going to be yellow and blue in the office. It's going to be hideous and fantastic, and I'm going to love it. And yeah, the standing desk is great. I love having a standing desk. Because I'm used to being a waiter in a restaurant, running like walking at top speed for 7 to 8 hours a day, 13 hours. Well, I didn't work at any double shift restaurants for a while, but like I've done my share of double shifts, triple shifts sometimes. There was one restaurant where I would work from 6 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night, and 9 o'clock at night, assuming nobody came in at the last minute, because occasionally people would come in at 5 to 9, and then you have to stay until like 10:30 and they're done. So yeah, I'm used to. I'm used to running around a lot, so the idea of just sitting on my ass for 8 hours a day is not appealing to me. So Naram Deputs starts off our donations with a $1 that says, "Congratulations, you now belong to the thus far exclusive club of people who donated to the stream." There we go. Thank you. I don't know if you typed that message or if that was like an automated thing, but yeah, there you go. Did I save that video of Matt's that was so stupid he deleted it? I'm not sure which video is that is. Would that be the one that Dapper Dino responded to on my channel? Because I don't think he would have deleted it. Usually when I post a response video to Matt Powell, he makes his original video private for a few days, maybe a week or two, until like the views kind of settle down from my channel, which is kind of telling on his part. He's clearly not trying to reach non-believers. Otherwise, he would welcome me making responses to him that would cause lots of viewers to going to his channel. But he always privates the video for like a week after I've made a response video because he doesn't want the views. He just wants the people in his little in-group to continue being in the little in-group. Yeah, so what are my thoughts on miracles? My thoughts on miracles are that they don't happen. Anyway, I'm here for some tweets. Let's read some tweets. I'm all by myself today, so I have to be extra entertaining. It was so nice having guests last week because I could like sit back and let them chat for a bit and be entertaining. It was kind of relaxing. It was great. I should have guests more often. Anywho. Oh my goodness, I forgot to move the chat from from when I had guests. Although admittedly there are a lot of tall tweets in this one, so the chat is going to be not visible for a good chunk of it. So you guys might have seen this one. This tweet got some traction. Side Hustle King says, would you rather get paid $1 million right now or $50 every month for the rest of your life? I'll take option B. That's what passive income is. Find a way to make a passive income. It'll change your life. Okay, so he admitted later that he did the math wrong because $50 a month for the rest of your life doesn't even add up to anything close to $1 million. So it's clearly the worst option of the two. So I'll give him credit. He corrected himself on that. But even still, you know what you can do with one big lump sum of money? You can invest it in something that gives you a passive income. So like if you invest $1 million, you can get a lot more than $50 a month out of that, or whatever he would actually consider to be a good alternative value after he corrects the math. No, I would think that was $50 as the only income or as part of the current income. I would think that'd be like on top of what you already have. But yeah, it's just that's just bad math. And also you have to consider paying off debt, because like right now I have a mortgage payment. It's several $100s per month. $1 million would completely pay off my mortgage and still leave me with hundreds of thousands of dollars in just cash lying there. But on top of having that hundreds of thousands of dollars of cash lying there that I could invest or even just put in a friggin' savings account, because like it's 0.1% interest now, I think, on a good chunk of money. That's not bad. I mean, it's not great, but it's not bad. But like, you pay off my mortgage, that's several $100s a month more now. That like, if my income stays the same, that's essentially that much extra disposable income, which I can then use to either pay off more debt or invest that, or just invest in having a better lifestyle. So yeah, that's just overall bad advice right there. Yeah, there's one of the tall ones. Okay. Oh, yeah. So that was, so Nick Huber says, B all day. What people don't understand is that half that million will be paid in taxes. $50 a month can be used to pay my cell phone bill, which is used to make more money. Oh, God, I didn't even see that part when I took the screenshot. Or my internet bill, which I'd use to get smarter and make more money, or rent a power washer each month to make more money. Oh, God. This guy's an idiot. So yeah, first off, if half of it goes to taxes, I did the math on that with if I put it in my 0.1% interest rate, and I only put $500,000 into just a basic savings account, that's like $41 a month. So I'm sure I could find a better investment than 0.1%. Like a GIC, for instance, would be perfect for that. On top of that, This is my Canadian privilege speaking, but living in Canada, we have a windfall section of your taxes. So if you get a large sum of money from winning the lottery, gambling, inheritance, a gift, something like that, it falls under the category of windfall and is not subject to taxes. So we don't pay taxes. We don't pay taxes on our winnings like that. We don't, like, if somebody just hands you $1 million, you declare it, but it's as a windfall. Boom, no taxes. So I get the full $1 million. Maybe I know Americans have to pay taxes on that, but I thought they complained about the high taxes in Canada because we have better health care. But you know, anyways, so what this ended up at. Oh yeah, so he's like, so great. Now I tell my kids and my family I'm making it in this world because somebody handed me $1 million for no reason. What kind of man would that make me? A millionaire? I'd take that. Does windfall include game shows? Yes, but only Canadian game shows. If you win the money in the States, you got to pay the American taxes. I actually, when I was in grade 4 or 5, something like 5, I think grade 5, I had my French teacher was on Wheel of Fortune, and she won a car. But she would have had to pay tax on the value of the car. She didn't have that money, so she had to sell the car, and then she had to pay the tax on the value of the sale. So she, out of this, like, it wasn't like a fantastic car. It was just like a run-of-the-mill sedan sort of thing. Like, nice, it was new or whatever, but like, we're talking like maybe $20,000, something like that. And then she had to pay tax on it, and a good chunk of it went to the taxes. So it basically didn't change her life whatsoever. So yeah, like game show winners often do get screwed like that, especially in the States. In Canada, like if there's a Canadian game show, I don't know. I don't watch TV, and I never really watched game shows other than The Price is Right when I was sick. So I don't know. Oh yeah, gamblers don't make money. No, they don't. That's why casinos can be in business. That's why everybody made fun of Donald Trump for being able to bankrupt a casino, because you can't bankrupt a casino. They're money-making machines. The money just comes in. As long as you pay out occasionally, people will think that there's a chance I can get paid out. But yeah. You don't make money gambling. I used to work with a guy that was proud of the fact that he was a platinum member at the casino. And it's like, okay, well, in order to be a platinum member, you have to have gambled like $200,000. It's like, yeah, that's over the course of your life, but like, you're working a minimum wage job with me, buddy. Like, if you've gambled 200, that like, think of what else you could have done with that money, because you clearly didn't win on it. But he had his platinum member parking spot, which actually for that job put him a lot closer to us than the employee parking did. So he liked that. Okay, Liberty Hangouts. Separation of church and state is so dumb. So dumb. You can separate church from state, but you can never divorce religion from state. Government is the means by which you mold the acceptable behaviors of society, so we must have a Christian state and not an atheist one. There's just so much wrong with this. So much wrong with this. The Gatheist says he has an addiction. Yeah, he was actually... he probably ruined his life, maybe not specifically with gambling. I know there were some other allegations associated with him that I'm not going to go into. But he was actually an Olympic figure skater in the 1940s or 50s, somewhere in there. And yeah, he placed like 43rd or something. He wasn't a great Olympic figure skater, but you have to be a pretty good figure skater just to make it to the Olympics. But yeah, he had lots of issues that resulted in him not being able to work in the figure skating area anymore. And then I don't know, he did not have a fantastic life. Godless Blessing says, when bad things happen to good people, we aren't reminded that bad things happen, but rather that goodness is special, by Bug Howl, aka Alfalfa from Little Rascals, all grown up and married. I can't picture Alfalfa being married. A little thing in his hair. But, yeah, so this separation of church and state thing is like, of course, he says you must have a Christian state. Okay, why Christian? Why should the Christians get to impose their religion on the Muslims or the Hindus or the Jews or the atheists? Why do you get special privilege? Like, you shouldn't. And the fact that you think you should is quite telling. This is advocating for a theocracy. It's not good. It's not a good look. But it's Liberty Hangout. If you guys know anything about Liberty Hangout, that account is a dumpster fire. No. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I got the 3D printer going. The kids have their go to school and pick up the stuff that you left there back in April when they closed the schools day, and it's also to say goodbye to the teachers, so they're all like 3D printing little gifts for the teachers. My daughter printed a Groot pen holder, which is like a little Groot leaning up against a tree that's hollow that you stick your pens in. It's pretty cute. Oh yeah, this is a bit of an older one. So this person whose name I can't read because I have trouble with characters like that. I think it's Lilith, maybe. Imagine being so bad at video games that you gotta post this to cope, with the meme being many people play video games in easy mode, and that's okay because games are supposed to be fun, relaxing, and not stressful. It's like, yeah, what is wrong with playing video games in easy mode? I don't understand that. Like who cares? Games are made to be enjoyed. And if you're enjoying it on easy mode, congratulations, you're enjoying the game just like the developers intended. Some people are like, oh no, you got to play it the way the developers intended, and they intended it to be harder. And it's like, Yeah, okay, but what about the people who wrote the story? Do you think they would be happy with you giving up partway through because it was too hard? Or would they want you to go through the whole story and appreciate the whole thing of what they wrote? Because I feel like they'd rather have someone appreciate the whole thing to a lesser degree than just a part of it and give up in frustration. Like, this is, I don't know, like, gatekeeping who can enjoy playing a video game. Like, I play Hollow Knight. That's a hard game, and there's no easy mode on it. You can't switch the settings. My wife is terrible at video games, like, just bad at them. But she enjoys Hollow Knight a little bit, but she plays it on a computer with mods to make it easier to play. There's nothing wrong with that. Do you think the guys who made Hollow Knight are going to be like, no, she can't enjoy our game unless she dies several times on the first screen? Like, fuck off.
Yay, Mommy, for candy!
Oh, that's Godless Blessing says, I believe in an America where the separation of church and state is absolute. John F. Kennedy. Yeah, but he was a liberal, though, wasn't he? Like, friggin' Democrats. Liberty Hangouts depresses me. American. That's this guy's name. God is in charge, and only he could explain what he does with his creations. Capital, capital, capital. We can look at what goes on and think that he could have done better. The problem with that is that we evaluate God with our fallible minds. We will never have the capacity to see things as God does. In other words, God can do immoral stuff, but don't you dare question him. Because you're just a fallible human. You don't know any better. So, like, obviously, there's a reason for an all-good God to give a baby cancer. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And the same people that say shit like this are the people that will say that morality is absolute. Like, they're like, oh, there's atheists with their relative morality. It's like, yeah, morality is relative to the situation. And then they turn around and be like, oh, well, God knows the whole situation, so he knows why this thing that looks immoral is actually moral. It's like, is that not relative morality? If it's right in one situation but wrong in the other? Like, either there's absolute morality or there's not. There's no middle ground there. But was God the snake that tempted Eve? No, that was okay, so fundamentalist interpretation is that was Satan, who was created by God, but let's just overlook that minor detail there. Like, God created Satan knowing full well that he would ruin everything. But in the actual story, there is no evidence that the serpent was a supernatural being. It's just a serpent. Like, if you read it, the serpent is the craftiest beast of the field. It's just an animal. It's a clever animal, and it talks, as animals are wont to do in these etiological myths. Etiological is just basically a word to describe myths that describe the origins of something. So, like, one of my favorites is there's a Western North American native myth about how the bear got its stubby tail, and it's that the bear was tricked by a fox into trying to go ice fishing with its tail as the fishing line. So he stuck his tail in the ice, and then when the fish bit down on it, he whipped it up, but his tail was frozen because it was really cold water, and the tail just got ripped off. And that's how the bears got their short, stubby tails. And that's an etiological myth. So the story in Genesis seems like an etiological myth to explain why snakes don't have legs, why they crawl around on their bellies, why they stick their tongue out and lick the dirt. So it says he's cursed with eating dirt the rest of their days, and this is the AIG apologetic for that, because snakes don't eat dirt, do they? And it's like, no, they use their Jacobson's organ, and they lick up some of the dirt and they stick it in the Jacobson's organ. They're like, that's an extra scent organ. And AIG tries to use that to say, like, oh, well, see, snakes do eat dirt. But then they'll try and say that the snake was the devil. And it's like, I don't think AIG's arguing that the devil's crawling around eating dirt with no legs. So I don't know how, like, why would actual snakes be cursed for something the devil did? I don't know. But yeah, so it explains that. If you look at the Hebrew, it explains why the Hebrew word for dirt which was Adamah, was so similar to the Hebrew word for man, which was Adam. So Adam and Adamah. There are actually a lot of Hebrew puns in the first couple that like kind of link concepts like that. That's the only one that I know offhand. I'd have to look up the other ones. But yeah, it's actually it is an incredibly fascinating story if you read it and you consider the context of the culture that was writing it. But if you just read it and say, oh, it has to mean exactly what it says it means, then it's so boring and contradictory. But like it's fascinating. It's a fascinating insight into an ancient culture that gets ignored by fundamentalists. Matt's was that one about the African American. Oh, the if African Americans evolved into other Americans, then why are there still African Americans? That one. That's the one that Matt deleted. Oh, that. Oh, that's amazing. I think somebody else responded to that one, so he might just have that one on private for the same as the same reason. The same reason he does it when I put up a video on him. But yeah, I don't think he would have deleted it, but it would. But I do have that one downloaded. That I actually have a whole compilation of clips of stupid things that Matt has said. That's on my Shorts channel, Vice Rhino Shorts. So if you search for that. I should probably like put that link in the description or something, but yeah, I think I forgot to do shorts of my upcoming videos recently, so I should probably get back into that if I actually want anybody to do that. Anywho, tentative apologist. This is Randall Rouser, not to be confused with Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rouser, is that her name? I don't know. I don't even really know who she was. This is the definition of atheism that I typically work with. First, I like the colons here. This is the definition of atheism that I typically work with, definition, it's just so over the top. The unconditionally, non-dependently real is not personal. Note, that doesn't entail that nature is all that exists or everything that is material or some other specific reductionist thesis. It's a minimal claim. And so this person accused, okay, we'll get to this is a several tweet long thing. There's more. But this person did accuse me at one point because I referred to this definition of atheism as being needlessly complicated word salad because that's what it is. Like what he's trying to say is that the original thing or whatever, the brute fact that the universe began with, like whatever existed at the beginning of the universe, whatever it was, is not personal. Like that's essentially what this is saying. And so it's saying that like this originally thing is not personal. That's the atheist belief. The problem with that, like I don't have a problem saying that the first thing that existed was not personal. That doesn't bother me. But defining atheism that way doesn't work because that definition also applies to deism, because the deists don't think that God is personal. So this isn't a good definition of atheism because it is not exclusive to atheists. So I responded to that with, if belief in God equals no, then atheism, because it really is that simple. That's all there is. That's all there is to it. It's really easy. It doesn't need to be that big, complicated thing that he thinks that I didn't understand. So then he comes back and says, you didn't define God. Using the word isn't a definition. Okay, well, let's go back to yours. You didn't define the unconditionally, non-dependently, real, is, not, and personal. You didn't give a definition for any of those words. Using a word is not a definition. Do you see why that's a stupid thing to say? Like, no, I didn't define God. You define God. Like, you're the one making the God claim. So you define God, and I'll tell you whether or not I believe in that God. Chances are it's going to be no. If you go with something wishy-washy like God is the universe. Okay, fine. I believe in the universe. If that's how you define God, then that is a useless definition of God, and B, fine, whatever, it exists. But that's a stupid tangent. Like, it's completely irrelevant. Like, very few people use the word God that way, especially people that call themselves apologists. They usually have a very specific God in mind. So, like, define God, and I'll tell you why I don't believe in him. Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry, Collie B. I forgot to read your donation. Says, my nightly YouTube mix. I love listening to you. I have issues playing video games due to my sensory overload problems. Yeah, that's perfectly valid. There are also people like my wife. I said she's pretty bad at video games because what happens to her, she doesn't operate well under pressure. So when there's a situation that like there's a lot of pressure, she needs to make decisions quick and figure out what buttons to push. She just pushes all the buttons as fast as she can, and usually that ends up in her dying. So yeah, and that's like that's just the way her brain is wired, and it's fine if she enjoys playing video games, but she needs the easiness turned down a little, or made them a little easier for that. Then that works. Godless Blessing says, Rhino versus God, fabulous video. Yeah, I am so happy that people actually like that video because I put so much work into it. And usually with YouTube, when you put work into stuff, people hate it. Like, if you just shit out a quick video and you don't put any effort into it, people eat that up. But as soon as you, like, dedicate hours and hours and hours of research and reading different Bible verses in different contexts to make sure you're getting it all right and stuff, that like generally people don't like that stuff as much. So I am so happy with that. And tomorrow I actually have a video specifically on the ontological argument. It's another solo video. I'm not responding to anyone. And that's another instance of I put a lot of work into that one. I hope people like it. But also that one I would understand why people don't like it because it's the ontological argument, and I hate that argument. I tortured myself with that one. I don't know why I did it. Her pressing all the buttons results in her dying in electrical. Sure. Not entirely sure what you mean by that. But sometimes I just read random stuff before I even think about it. Anywho, so yeah, what I said was, did I claim that using the word God was the definition of God? Because no, I didn't. There are many definitions of God, and as long this is what I was just saying, as long as it isn't some wishy-washy equivocating between a non-God real thing and God, I likely don't believe in it. My phone seems to be connected to my computer, so every time a notification goes off, you guys are probably hearing that. So let me just... Oh, come on. I've got too many notifications, so I can't swipe down on the... Oh, there we go. Disconnect. There. That should be better. So yeah, I likely don't believe in your definition of God, whatever that may be, as long as it's not the wishy-washy thing like the universe. So therefore I'm an atheist. And that's really all there is to it. To which he replied, I simply pointed out that you didn't define the term. If you don't have a definition, you're not in a place to criticize those who do. Yes, I fucking am, because he was trying to define the label that I use to describe myself. His definition of God is irrelevant to that. Vice Rhino really out here forgetting what Among Us is. No, I remember what Among Us is. It's just, I feel like it's losing traction. It's a fun game. I haven't played it in a while, though. So I responded, you're defining atheism, your definition is needlessly complicated word salad. As someone who is an atheist, I have every right to criticize someone who is attempting to define the label that I use for myself. His pivot to the definition of God is a dodge. That's what it looks like. He can't defend his definition of atheism, so instead of defending his definition of atheism, he comes back with, well, you didn't define God. It's like, why, like, I say I don't believe in leprechauns. I don't need to define a leprechaun first. Like, culturally, we are aware of what leprechauns are. Different people will have slightly different definitions of a leprechaun. I don't believe in any of them. Same thing with, chimeras. Chimeras can have a different definition depending on who you're talking to. Plato for $24.99 says marry either. Marry either. Mary Doc Brandybuck. Is that who the Mary is? Holy cow, all the super chats coming in. Broke Mage says you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. I always at least read my super chats. There's Plato. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but how do you feel about the Rachel Oates and Jimmy Snow drama? Is there drama between Rachel Oates and Jimmy Snow? I wasn't aware of it. I'm friends with Jimmy. I consider myself friendly with Rachel, though we haven't interacted in a very long time. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm unaware of the drama, and I also try to avoid drama for the most part. And that's Craig Nasty Pants. Lovely last name. I love it. Hello and thank you for your channel. Just got a notification telling me my new VR hoodie is waiting for me when I get home. Ah, so that was you. I actually just logged into Teespring for the first time in a while and was like, oh, somebody ordered something. So, that was nice. It's always a nice feeling. I actually have my Darwin is in a Vice Rhino mask. I don't recommend the masks. I mean, to each their own. I know there are some people that actually like the Teespring masks, but I found that mask to be like, it was too big and it didn't seem like it was thick enough to really be filtering much. So Darwin wears it. If I had liked the mask, I would have been pushing that thing so hard, but I don't. Anyway, so after I did that, he muted me and he responded with, "Bye, you're muted now," something like that. And then he retweeted that with his word salad, noun, the descriptor you use to insult someone when you don't understand what they said. Like, we didn't get far enough into the conversation for you to figure out whether or not I understood what you said, because you weren't clarifying what you said. You were trying to pick apart what I said with meaningless dodges into the definition of God. Like, come on. And oh yeah, this is another guy on the same thing. He kind of took over the thread after this guy muted me and ran away. This person is dense, and I don't mean dense in the way that they would probably appreciate. I mean, like, they don't seem to understand what they are saying themselves, and they're not good at ordering it in a way that is easy to comprehend for other people. And it's not the word that they think that people aren't understanding them because of the words that they're using, but it's really because they're all over the place. And it's a bit of a train wreck, but the thing is, like, they're so condescending about, like, oh, well, you're too dumb to understand what I'm saying. It's like, no, we understand the words you're using, just the order you're using them in doesn't make much sense. But anyway, I thought this is a perfect example of, like, how I don't know, like, let's just read it. Like God nature, like sun God, like Jupiter God. If nature is God, then God is believed in. It's like, okay, that's what I was saying earlier about the equivocation. It's like, okay, yeah, if the universe is God, then I believe in God. But we already have a word for the universe. It's called universe. So also labeling it God is kind of meaningless. It doesn't add anything to the conversation. So whatever. It's a stupid definition. But some people go with that. And like, whatever. I guess I'm not an atheist for those people. And then he says, atheists say the term God can mean a celestial teapot too. So that's a tell me you don't understand Russell's teapot without telling me you don't understand Russell's teapot. So because that's not, like, the whole thing with Russell's teapot is it's to explain the burden of proof. Like, you can't prove to me that there is not a teapot orbiting in between the orbits of Earth and Mars, orbiting the sun in between Earth and Mars. You can't prove that to me. Does that mean it's reasonable to believe that there is one there? That's infinitely more probable than a god. We've actually like sent stuff in between Earth and Mars. It's potentially possible that one of those things could have been carrying a teapot that they just released into orbit in between them. It's not likely. It's probably not the case, but it's way more possible than a god, in my opinion. Lisa for Truth for $5 says, what the fuck is up with Anisian? I just learned about it. That is one of those names that I've heard before, but I don't know anything about it. So I'm sorry. Much with the Jimmy/Rachel thing, I just don't know. So yes, but there is a there's a red Tesla out there somewhere. But yeah, so this person doesn't understand this teapot thing, because we're not saying the teapot is God. We're using the teapot as an analogy to explain the burden of proof. It's a completely different situation. But then he goes on, even the planet Jupiter too, in some strawman silliness. Well, Jupiter is real, so God exists there. This to me looks like he doesn't understand the concept of, like, the sun god is not so much that they knew what the sun was as a big burning ball of gas and they said that was a god. It was that there's a big burning thing in the sky, but things don't just stay in the sky unless it's a bird doing the flappy flaps. Like things that are in the sky fall down. So that must be a god, a celestial being that lives in the sky and shines his light upon us. Like, but then we found out it's just a ball of burning gas. There is no sun god. Jupiter is the same thing. Like that was, like Jupiter was like the Greek version of Zeus, or the Roman version of Zeus. I always get them mixed up. And so like that, and it was like the king of the gods. It's not that they saw a planet and was like, oh, that planet must be a god. It's like, no, we named the planet Jupiter long after that god myth had fallen out of favor. So yeah, it's just, oh, it's very likely that there's a teapot in the trunk of the Tesla up there. I don't think that would count though, unless they released it, because then like, I mean, I guess technically there's but I feel like the analogy is meant to be a naked teapot, not a teapot contained in something else. So I don't know. I don't know if that would satisfy it. But when did the ball of gas come around ordering you around? He didn't. It didn't. Thunderbuns says, I don't read your tweets in fear of missing a first reaction while watching the stream. How much am I missing out on? But I might have to reconsider. I'm not that clever on Twitter. One of the things you might miss out on is that right after John McAfee died, right after John McAfee died, I tweeted that like he may be dead, but he will never be uninstalled, or we'll never be able to uninstall him, something like that. And it's like, too soon? It's like, nah, he would have loved that joke. Like he has a video on him, like it's him and some computer guy trying to uninstall the software. He's just like, I haven't had anything to do with this software in like 15 years, and he's just like doing drugs while the computer guy is trying to get it uninstalled. It's a funny video, but like I feel like he would have liked that joke. Anyway, someone tell Elon to release the teapot. Never imagined Vice Rhino would be a teapot purist. Well, you know what? I am a teapot purist because I am a tea purist. Because like the tea has to be loose leaf, cream of Earl Grey, steeped at 90 degrees Celsius for 4 minutes with just a little bit of milk. That's the perfect cup of tea. I was able to uninstall McAfee. I know how to uninstall bloatware. Generally, the easiest way, if you get a new computer from just some pre-built thing, it usually comes with a bunch of bloatware. Easiest way to get rid of it all, generally, and I think this would actually, it's been a long time since I bought a computer that way, so don't do this without looking into it more, but I think what you can do is you can actually like use the Windows installer tool to like just completely wipe the drive and reinstall Windows, and it should, if it doesn't pick up that you already have a key or whatever, like you should have somehow, you should be able to have your Windows key from the original installation. I don't know if Windows picks it up automatically or if it's still printed on a sticker on the laptop. I don't think they do that anymore. Or if you can like get it from the system before you do that. I don't know. There's got to be a way to do it. And you just have a clean install of Windows. Or, I mean, flip side, you could pay a couple $100 to buy Windows key again. Or you could just use it not activated. That's always an option. Vice Rhino, what I meant was planet Jupiter exists, yes, like the dunce said, but it never issues orders. Yeah, no, it doesn't. Yeah, coffee. It's okay to like tea, but coffee is clearly better. No, tea tastes good. Coffee does not. So there's that. Yes, key is attached to the motherboard so you can install Windows 10 without issue. That's what I thought. But I also didn't want to give that advice on a stream in case somebody would like do that without checking first, and then turns out I'm wrong, because it's been a long time since I've even installed Windows. But yeah. Case Orbs. Is your freedom more important than my safety? I don't know about you. My lunch is more important to me than you are. Christian love, everybody. Christian love. I feel like I've done this one already, but 5th of June, maybe? I don't know. It's an old tweet, so if I... Does that work for phones? No, that doesn't work for phones. Unfortunately, for phones, generally you would do like a factory reset, and typically a factory reset will... I mean, unless you're installing from a ROM, it'll just reset it to having all the bloatware crap if it came with bloatware. I think. Again, don't take my word for it. I no longer do tech stuff for a living. I did ages ago. But even then, it was like a computer refurbishing place. It was a place called Renewed Computer Technology. So we would take people's old computers and we would refurbish them and then sell them really, really cheap to like schools and hospitals and crap. And so I basically... like you network boot, network install Windows, and we had the Windows set up. I forget what it's even called, but like you can have like all the commands for the installation saved in a text file that Windows will look to, and so that way you can just start the installation, walk away, come back a couple hours later, and it's done. So yeah, even when I did do tech stuff, it wasn't like in-depth. Like occasionally you'd have to do troubleshooting with drivers and crap like that, but for the most part, it was pretty standard stuff. So I went to school for computer programming, so I know I can write software in I haven't done it in years and years and years and years, so I'd have to look up the syntax again, but I was decent at that. But yeah, so anyway, like this just kind of shows what kind of person Kevin Sorbo is. Like he's more worried about his lunch than your safety. So it's like, yeah, okay, well then I no longer care about your opinion because you're a garbage human being, and I probably care more about his safety than he cares about mine, judging by this tweet. Okay, tall one. I never understood anti-gun arguments. You don't need it. You also don't need to go out every night, but here we are. Going out every night doesn't kill people. I mean, you can die in accidents and crap, but going out doesn't kill things. It's not inherently violent. It's a weapon of war. So are binoculars, those deadly weapons, binoculars, drones. Okay, drones, yeah. Radios. Yeah, those walkie-talkies be dangerous weapons. I bought like real walkie-talkies for my kids to play with. It kills people, so can a chicken with enough dedication. Yeah, but you know what kills people a lot faster than a dedicated chicken? A gun. Walk into a place with a gun with a massive magazine on it, you can kill people really, really quick. There was a video going around on Twitter the other day, like the 4 gunmen at one of the recent shootings. I forget how many people were. I think it was like 8 people were shot or something like that. But it was like they were out of the car for all of 30 seconds. Like it was on security. They caught it on security camera. They just got out of the car, ran off. 30 seconds later, they're back in the car driving away, and they've done massive amounts of damage. A chicken wouldn't do that. It's not capable of doing that. That's the problem. That's the difference. Lisa for Truth says, I watched Aaron's last supposed lies in the textbooks. Kent's frog story made me think. Didn't think he could get more stupid. Did you guys see the letter? No, you probably didn't. But a guy named Robert Beatty. I'm not sure. He goes by Kent Hovind's worst nightmare on Twitter. 'Cause he's one of the. I think he was one of the guys involved in prosecuting Kent in some way or other. I don't remember exactly, but he got a hold of a letter that one of Kent's friends sent to Kent's ex-wife. I think she's his ex, or they might still be married but separated. I'm not sure. I'm not sure which one it was. Cindy, I think. But I don't remember where she falls in the order. And it was just nasty. It was like, you're a woman, so shut the frick up. You can't say fuck, because that would be against the Bible, but he can tell a woman to shut the frick up, and that's fine, because she's a woman. And it was like there was a whole list of things like, stop complaining about this, shut the frick up. And it was like, women's brains are built differently from men, so you're clearly built for holding grudges and stuff like that, so you need to shut the frick up. And at one point Like in the list of things that she's supposed to shut up about and never bring up again was the underwear issue. I don't know what the underwear issue was. It was clarified later that apparently women's underwear was found in Kent's underwear drawer that did not belong to his wife. So I don't know if that's like a mistress situation or he likes to feel pretty situation or what. I don't know, but there is an underwear issue with Kent Hovind. And now Kent Hovind has now gotten to the point where like Matt Powell was supposed to like move in with him, and Matt has backed off and like, no, yeah, that ain't happening. I ain't never gonna move in. Like that's just too cringy for me. Kent Hovind has now become too cringy for Matt Powell, for Matt fucking Powell. Like, oh my god, that guy. Oh, they're all so big. Why are they so big? Why can't people tweet smaller? Oh, they did. They did tweet smaller. Remember when it was a 140 character limit? Nunya Business says, when I think Kent hits the bottom, he digs deeper. Yeah, I know. I mean, there's not, like with the underwear thing, if he likes wearing women's underwear, that's fine. But don't then go on phone calls and stuff being recorded on record saying that you think people that do that sort of thing should be stoned to death. Like, the problem with Kent Hovind wearing ladies' underwear is not that he's wearing ladies' underwear. It's that he is so vehemently against that sort of thing. Like, I don't care what kind of underwear he wants to wear. And I actually... I kind of want to get like a proper portrait done of like Kent Hovind standing all dignified or whatever, but like in lingerie. I think that would be hilarious. But I also think there might be legal repercussions with something like that. So I'm not going to commission it anytime soon. Anywho, Sam here is defending slavery in the Bible, I think, says, it's indentured servitude, and that's a good thing for the poor. In any fledgling nation, the few rich can't talk anymore. The few rich invested in the many poor. They don't stay poor. That's what the 6-year redemption then release with full grant is. That was offered to the Gentiles as well. Deuteronomy 29:10. It's like this guy disappeared really quick when I responded with Leviticus. I think it's 25:14. Oh, I gotta look it up. Leviticus. Ooh. 25:46 looks like, judging by my search history.
Hey, money for candy.
Yeah, that's it. As for your male and female slaves whom you may have, you may buy male and female slaves from among the nations that are around you. That doesn't sound like poor people going in for, like, they can't afford things, so having people pay for their living expenses and crap. That sounds like buying forced slaves. You may also buy from among the strangers who sojourn with you, and their clans that are with you who have been born in your land, and they may be your property. You may bequeath them to your sons after you to inherit as a possession forever. Not for 6 years, forever. You may make slaves of them, but over your brothers, the people of Israel, you shall not rule over one another ruthlessly. Elvin Tunuviel says, a big problem that I have with Jimmy is anti-gun bias. Try pressure cookers. I don't want people dying, which may involve certain people not having guns. I don't entirely understand what the reference is there. Did he make a thing about pressure cookers? I don't know. I have a bit of an anti-gun bias myself as well. Now, I don't think that guns should be banned by any stretch of the imagination, but there does need to be much tighter controls on gun stuff. But yeah, so this guy doesn't know his Bible. Like when I sent this verse to him, he disappeared real quick. Weren't the slaves allowed to be beaten close to death, say in style, and that only male Hebrew slaves are leaving after 6 years? Well, that depends on which verse you're in. If you're in Exodus, only the male slaves go free at the after the 6 years. The women and children stay with the slave owner, and if the male slaves come in and they don't have a wife, and the guy gives them a wife, and then they decide that's how you trick your slave into being a permanent slave for life. If you decide you want to stay with your wife and kids, and not be separated as a family, then they'll like pierce your ear on a doorpost with an awl, and that's the mark that you are now a permanent slave, and you do not go free after the 7 years or the 6 years. But that's Exodus. Deuteronomy is actually much more mild. It applies to both men and women, and then they, like in that one, they can voluntarily choose to stay with the master. So Deuteronomy is actually the much better place to get your slavery rules, but it does directly contradict Exodus. So, like, that doesn't say much for biblical inerrancy. Okay, Philip Cotrow. Cotrox. My wife could say that because she's French. My criteria for taking any atheist seriously: 1. Must actually know what they're talking about on history, science, or philosophy. Degree preferred. Okay, do I count as knowing what I'm talking about? I think there's some subjects that I know pretty well, like maybe not as well as someone that has a degree, but for a layman, I'm pretty well educated on some topics. That's because I have weird interests, though, and so I'll sit here reading scientific studies when most people wouldn't want to do that. It must go by their real name. Okay, I'm out. It must not be represented by a cartoon avatar or otherwise dress like a clown. But what about me? I'm not Avatar right now, but I just do that for most of my videos, and I'll let you in on a secret. That's a laziness thing. It's laziness. It's way easier to edit a video if I just slap a still picture on a looping background and just repeat the loop for the whole thing. And like, I know for a fact that Paulogia spends a ridiculous amount of time making his avatar just blink, and like making sure the blinks aren't like too frequent or too infrequent, like tweaking the blink rate to be just right, and like randomizing it just right so it's not just like every couple seconds it blinks and everything. It's like I can't do that. I don't have the time for that. I put out 3 videos. I alternate weeks, 2 and 3 videos a week. It's a lot of videos. It's a lot of work. I probably could figure out how to do something like that with my Rhino or whatever. I consider doing the VTube thing with like use a webcam to like control the things or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's just people are happy with my content without me changing up the Rhino. So I'm not going to put the extra energy into minor details like that. And like live videos like this are harder to edit as well, because then you have to like the jump cuts are unnatural, whatever. Anyway, Elvin Tanuviel says, just saying that chickens is a stupid argument. Boston Marathon was bombed with a pressure cooker. Oh, was it a pressure cooker at that? But people keep talking about guns equals bad. Not the problem. Statistically speaking, the number of guns contributes heavily to the amount of gun violence. So yes, guns equals bad. Yes, there are other ways to kill people, but guns are by far the easiest. Like like making a pressure cooker into a bomb. There's a lot that can go wrong with that. Like the bomb might not go off. It might go off prematurely. Like you have to have a certain level of handiness and knowledge to be able to do something like that. Whereas a gun, any idiot can point a gun and pull the trigger. Like, yeah, there's more to it than that, but not much more. Like they're designed to make killing easy. That's their whole thing. Like they were invented to replace bows and arrows to kill people, or well, animals originally, I would think. But yeah, people too. We do the war thing a lot. Anyway, I do have to say I like the name. I am currently reading Lord of the Rings to the kids, so I get the reference. Nunya Business says, some atheists would have to get fired for him to take them seriously. Not everyone can go by their real name. Yeah, that was actually part of the reason I didn't show my face for so long was because I was working in a restaurant and my boss knew about the YouTube channel. He did not want it associated with the restaurant at all. Like, I have a selfie of myself with Bodhi Hodge. When Bodhi Hodge came into the restaurant and I served him, and was like, oh, I have to get a selfie with Bodhi Hodge. I was given explicit instructions to never post that on social media. Now, I don't know if I could get in trouble because I no longer work there. I don't know if I could get in trouble if I posted it now. But I'm kind of not posting it just out of respect for the fact that he said never post it, and I said sure. So, like, at that point, it's more of a personal integrity thing than whether or not I have the legal right to do it. Because I don't think they really had any legal right to tell me not to post it. But that being said, strictly speaking, I shouldn't have had my cell phone on me at the time anyway. But yeah, so and like this guy, like those are just completely arbitrary criteria. It's just the genetic fallacy. Like, my criteria for taking any atheist seriously is I will commit the genetic fallacy. If you don't meet these criteria, it doesn't matter what you're saying. The style over substance. Like, the substance doesn't matter. Your style's wrong, so I'm not going to take you seriously. So, fuck you, Philip. Oh, God. The sizes are so random this time. Eric says, men, if you see a woman online past 10 p.m., don't even touch her with a 10-foot pole. She is desperately looking for attention from strangers, since in her real life, no man is attracted to her or ready to touch her. Avoid her and focus on your life. Okay, so aside from the really, really dumb idea that if a woman's online at 10 p.m., that definitionally means that nobody else is willing to even touch her, so there must be something seriously wrong with her. Aside from that heinous bullshit, does this guy not know that time zones are a thing? Like, right now it's 9:30. In a half hour, it'll be past 10, where I am. But if you go to Nova Scotia, no, wrong way. They're an hour ahead. So in California right now, it is 6. I think 6. I'm bad at time zones. So I think it's about 6:30 in California right now. So at 10 o'clock, it'll be 7 o'clock in California. So yeah, it'll be after 10 o'clock, and there's a woman online. But what if she lives in LA? It's before 10. I mean, who cares? That's all bullshit anyway. But, like, time zones are a thing, man. You live in a global society now. You can't just assume that your time is everybody's time. Yeah, I have confirmation from someone in California that it's 6:30. I mathed right. 3:30 a.m. where Blade Runner is. So you're clearly a lost cause that nobody would touch with a 10-foot pole, being online at 3:30 in the morning. You should be out partying or asleep, I guess. I don't know. Kevin Sorbo again. I must have named them wrong because normally they all come up in a row. So, when's the media going to tell people not to smoke cigarettes, drink excessive amounts of alcohol, eat fast food, or touch little kids? Or are we just sticking to masks save lives? I don't know where this guy... I don't know what media this guy consumes. Now, I haven't watched broadcast TV in years, but when I was a kid, there were anti-drug ads, anti-alcohol ads. There was stuff about not eating, like eating healthy and stuff like that. Like, all that was covered. The not touching little kids thing, if you need to be told that by the media, then you got a problem. You should probably, I don't know, turn yourself in or go see a psychologist or both, I guess. Like, yeah, that's gross, man. Like, you need to be told not to do that? And do you think that PSAs are actually going to have an effect on that? Like, I don't know. But, like, yeah, like, there are PSAs about all that crap. Like, my kids are in school. They've seen stuff about not smoking and drinking. It's funny. Occasionally, like, we'll have like wine or beer in the house or whatever, and the kids, we'll occasionally let them have like a little drip of wine, water it down a lot, and there you go. Now you can feel like an adult that you're drinking wine or whatever. But my daughter won't touch the stuff, and it's partly like she's learned about it in school that you're not supposed to touch the stuff and like whatever, but it's also partly she just doesn't like the taste. I'm like, yeah, that's fine, that is perfectly legit. I don't like watered down wine either, but also I kind of like, you're a bit young now for anything undiluted, but as a parent, I kind of want to be I want to be the kind of parent that if my daughter ends up drunk at a party at 16, I want her to call me for a ride rather than getting in a car with a drunk driver or driving drunk herself. Like, I don't want to be the dad that she's going to be afraid to call because she wants to try and sneak home and not get caught and not get in trouble. Now, obviously, I'm not going to encourage that sort of behavior, but if you're at a party and you get drunk, call me. You're not going to get in trouble. That sort of thing. But, yeah, that's a bit of a tangent. I don't know why that's even relevant. But, like, my kids are in school and they've gotten the don't smoke, don't drink, eat healthy stuff all the time. Food pyramid crap. She's never had scotch. I assume that's the middle of a conversation that I'm missing, but I have had scotch. I don't particularly care for it, but I kind of want to start drinking it again because I'm finding that, like, if I want a buzz, beer doesn't really do it. Like, you have to drink so much beer that you feel bloated. And I love rum, but that shit is so sweet and sugary and like I want something that's less sugary and gross, and like when drinking it straight up, so you get more of a buzz quicker, but without the sickly sweetness. Yeah, Shapiro said to ban crime. He did say that. He also said that, like, oh well, if your land is okay, we're done with the tweets apparently. Yeah, Shapiro also said that if you're done, or if the coastline floods, just sell your house and move. You think people aren't going to sell their houses and move? And I forget who did it, but somebody did, like, they did like the Who's Johnny thing where they like chopping through the blackboard that he was talking from, sticks his face and was like, sell them to who, Ben? It's pretty good. The last time some dumbass tried the good guy with the gun thing, police killed him. Yeah, I could see that. Like, that's the thing about the good guy with a gun narrative, is that if all the good... Okay, so picture an active shooter scenario. It's confusing, it's loud, you don't necessarily know what's going on at first. Like, in retrospect, yeah, you know who the shooter was and you know what happened or whatever. But when it's happening at the time, you don't know who is the person that has the gun or whatever. So if everybody has a gun, everybody's the good guy with the gun, someone pulls out their gun, shoots the other guy, someone else that didn't see the whole thing, they just saw someone shoot someone else. And for all they know, the someone else that got shot could have been another good guy with a gun. So now they shoot this good guy with a gun, and it just escalates, and you have all that much more death. Like, I could, like, that... Oh, that would be a massively bad scenario. So, like, occasionally it works, but usually when it works, the person that is the good guy with the gun is someone that has professional training in that sort of scenario. Elvin Tanuvial again says, don't want to drag the conversation back. Gun violence equals violence. Look up Australia. Also, thank you for recognizing first time ever. Really? It's the first time you've ever... I didn't think that was that obscure of a reference. Gun violence... I'm not sure what you're getting at with the look up Australia. Is it that they have violent rates that are high, but they don't have guns? So I'm pretty sure Australia doesn't really have guns. But then if you look up, like... Okay, let's actually look it up. So, violent crime rate Australia. Done. Let's see if there's a per capita number. That'd be easier to compare. No, we don't want firearm. Oh, so many ads on this site. That makes me not want to trust it. Okay, no, I don't care about the... Okay, murder rate in Australia is 1.3 per 100... I think it's 100,000. Again, this is nationmaster.com, and it starts off with like a bunch of clickbait article ads at the top. So I don't know how accurate this is. But it... let's see... Drugs in Australia, cannabis use, who fucking cares? Opiates use in Australia is 0.5%. In United States is 0.57%. Not a huge difference there. Justice system punishment. I know United States has something like 25% of the world's prison population, so there's a massive incarceration problem in the States. Oh, look, an ad for Casper Mattress popped up. Yeah, I don't know how much I trust this website with all these ads and crap. Like, that's a big red flag for me. Murder rate, 1.3 per 100,000 people in Australia, 5 in the United States, so significantly worse. murders with firearms. This one's per million. This one actually says so. 3 murders with firearms per million people. 32.57 in the United States. More guns, more murders with guns. Police officers, who really cares? Rape rate, Australia is actually a little bit worse. Violent crime overall, 15 per... Okay, no, this is violent crime greater than gun crime, greater than guns per 100 residents. I think these are supposed to be pers, like violent crime per guns per 100 residents. I'm not sure exactly what this number is because it's written really confusingly, and like they're listing Wikipedia as a source. They couldn't even be bothered to go to the source of Wikipedia and list that instead of just Wikipedia. So I don't know how much I trust this website again. But like violent gun crime / gun crime / guns per 100 resident is 15 in Australia, 88.8 in the United States. Violent crime intentional homicide rate is 1.16 in Australia, 4.7 in the United States. Yeah, if these numbers are right, except for the rape one, Australia looks much, much safer than the United States. So yes, violent crime still happens without guns. Not as many people die. Like that's just how it is. Like people say, oh yeah, well people with knives can still be dangerous. Yeah, but like a person with a knife is a lot easier to avoid than a person with a gun. He could throw the knife at you, but he like nowhere near as accurately as a gun can shoot you. And you just like if you're away from him, then that. Oh, yeah, so rape rate is dependent on how they're reported. There's a quirk in Australia's reporting versus U.S. that artificially increases their rates. Yeah, that's true. That could be massive. Yeah, there are likely other factors here that are affecting it. Like I said, I don't necessarily trust this data because this website is sketchy as fuck. But I like that it tracks in my mind. Yeah, okay, this is just Wikipedia's list of countries with intentional homicide rate. Region, Americas, so that would be North America, Canada, and it does not include Mexico in there, is 16.3 per 150, or 16.3 per 100,000, so it's 157,000 homicides. Oceania, which is where Australia is 3. So that's a huge difference. Let's see. If we organize the countries by intentional homicide victims per 100,000 inhabitants, El Salvador is number 1. U.S. Virgin Islands is number 2. Really? U.S. Virgin Islands? Knives have heavier, slower ammo than guns. Yes, exactly. Drop bears are the real problem. Yeah, drop bears as well. Let's see. Where... Yeah, South America sucks for violence, apparently. I guess I could control F this. Cayman Islands is number 54. Okay, I think that's in the right chart. Yeah, United States is 93. And Australia is number 190. So, yeah, that's quite a difference. Where's Canada? Canada's number 151. So yeah, there's like there was a New York Times article recently that like went into all the statistics of like the different gun crime rates and different crime rates in the different countries and the potential causal factors and everything, and it found the only thing that correlated across all the different variables was amount of guns in the country. So yeah, like I said, I am not anti-gun. I think responsible gun ownership is a possible thing, but I don't think guns should be as easily available as they currently are in the United States. Like that, and I don't see how anyone can disagree with that, given the data. But yeah, anyway, that's it for the stream. That's all the tweets I have for tonight. That feels like it was a quick stream. Yeah, just a short little stream tonight, apparently. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, Elvin Nuviel, I know we seem to be disagreeing, but like disagreement can be done respectfully, and I feel like this was a productive conversation. None Ya Business says, I've been attacked with a knife. If the guy had a gun, I'd be dead. I'm not saying that we should ban guns, but at least let's regulate them. Yeah, that's kind of what I've been saying too. Actually, one of the things I like in Ontario, where I am, is if you have ever been divorced, you need to get your ex-spouse to sign off on it before you can buy a gun. And I like that rule. It's like, because that's a pretty good, like, obviously it's not going to be perfect, but like that's a pretty good indicator of like, should you be trusted with a weapon? Is someone you were in a relationship with that ended potentially badly, are they comfortable with you having a weapon? If the answer to that is yes, then there is a decent chance that like you like maybe you're not going to be a responsible owner knowing all the safety crap or whatever, but you're probably not going to go on a rampage if someone that you've been in a relationship with and have broken it off with is still comfortable with you having a weapon. I don't know. I like that rule. And I think rules like that should be implemented in more places. But yeah, anywho, so that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been fun. Look out for my ontological argument video tomorrow. And then what's on deck for Monday? I don't even remember anymore. Just finished Friday's video today, so how am I supposed to remember what I did from Monday? Oh yeah, Cold Case. J. Warner Wallace is up on Monday. And then on Friday it's a genocide video, so yeah. Anywho, I'm going to end it now. Bye, guys. As soon as I find the button. There we are.